Grand Rising Melanated people. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. We're just enjoying life, loving and living it out here in nature where God intended for us to be. Listening to the birds chirp, crickets crick, do what they do, crickets do what they do. And just having a good day. I wanted to talk to you today about, well, remember, like, comment, subscribe. Please hit that notification button so that you can be notified when I put up new videos. What I want to talk to you about today is set your kids up for success, not failure. Some of these old school slavery time remedies that we have are not apropos. They're really not. And we don't understand why. Well, I was talking to a lady a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about her son, and she was saying that, you know, she had lost a job and got called away to daycare for a couple of times, and so they terminated her, which is very lack of understanding, but that's a video for another day, because these jobs don't care anything about you, nothing at all. And so she lost her job and she's really struggling. And I was telling, and she was saying, well, are you gonna go, and he starts school in a little bit here in the fall. And she was saying he's gonna go to school, do this and do that. And I was trying to tell her that he's an only child, loves to play by himself, and he creates his own kind of little imaginary world and things that he does and plays like any child that age does. And she's a single parent. And so she's like, well, no, he just want to do what he want to do. Well, no, we got to stop that foolishness. You got to prepare him. How can you just take a child who's normally sets his own schedule and put him in a structured environment? That's setting him up for failure. I told her she's got to spend time with him in structured activities, moving him from station to station. If that's what they're doing in preschool now and in pre-K and things like that, which just seems to be the norm of what they're doing, moving from station to station, letting certain kids play this time, and that's where he really struggled, is you've got to give him time periods to play this, to do that. Use the technology around you. Hell, set your alarm on your phone. I could say, brother, you're gonna play here now for 15 minutes, then we're gonna get up, we're gonna go outside and we're gonna take a nature walk, 15 minutes or so. And kind of get him used to that structure. But we are so caught up in this thing where we truly believe that the school system is there to educate you, to make you a better person. They're there to create compliance from you, structure, in a line. We lining up, we're going here. We're getting ready to go to lunch at this time. They're getting you ready for the workforce. So as you understand, you got lunchtime, you got this time, you got to do that. That's what they're getting you ready for. And they're brainwashing you. Brainwashing the children is a part of that. That's the only reason for schools, so that everybody thinks alike. You take the Montessori school, they've had great success because they allow the kids to work on the things that interest them. That's where people are going to flourish and going to do well. I tell the story oftentimes about a kid when I was teaching that I taught. And he hated school. He was in special ed program, probably really didn't need to be there, but the point wasn't that he was slow or couldn't learn. The point was that he just didn't like school. Now I would go and see him sometime in the special ed classroom where he was, because he would come to me for some classes, but I would go see him there sometime, and he would have all of his schoolwork just jammed into his desk. And he had another notebook that he kept with him at all times where he played with his daddy in the bars and stuff on the weekend because he was a musician. And that notebook was nice and neat. In dividers, it had dividers for his music, and it also was in plastic sleeves. None of his schoolwork got that kind of care. And he could fix anything. You know, cars, trucks, small engines, whatever. He could fix it. But he just hated school. Now, if he had been allowed to work on small engines to create some kind of programming like that and be in something like that, he would have flourished. And he's doing well now, owns his own business, towing and record service, and is doing great. But that's what he loves to do. So you can't tell me education has the best interest of that person at heart, because it didn't do anything for him but make him miserable. And finally, he dropped out. So we need to stop setting ourselves up for failure. We need to stop complying with this thing, and we need to nurture our children in what they are interested in, even if the school won't. But once again, they got us over a barrel because parents have bills to worry about. They've got work to worry about. They've got church to worry about. And something funky is going on in all three of those things. In the bills, in the church, in the workplace. All kind of stresses. So all they can try to do is provide a safe environment for the kid to come home. They're glad for the kid to be in school, because otherwise they'd have more bills because they got to pay for them to go somewhere. So they're glad for the public school education because they've got to work. So I'm not blaming the parents or saying anything negative about the parents in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I'm just letting you know how the system is set up to keep our kids from achieving the best that they could be. It's not set up for them. And we have to stop saying that kids want to do what they want to do and this, that, and the other, and they just want to be defiant, and there's a reason. What's the reason behind it? Why they're being defiant? What's going on with them? Got to get to the bottom of it to help them to be all that they can be. But we need to stop this nonsense about school is there for the betterment of the child. It's there for conformity, so that everybody thinks alike. They don't want two schools of thought. They don't want one person thinking that the world is flat and another person thinking that the world is round. That creates all kind of creative conversations and all kind of diverse mindsets. And if your mindset is diverse, you might not be on that tip about getting a job, working hard, and keeping your nose clean. You might be on that entrepreneurial tip. You might be on living off the land, living on that natural tip. You know, just what the land has provided for you. You might want to buy you a piece of land out in the wilderness somewhere and just homestead. If you're thinking diversely. You might decide that living in a house is not the way God intended for you to live, and they can't have that because they've got to sell you houses. And one thing I want you to think about in this whole thing, and this probably has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but it popped in my head, I'm going to let it pop out. You think about it, we were indigenous people to this area. Black people, we were indigenous people in the Americas. Already here, long before they sailed over in what they call a new world. There was nothing new about it. It was already here. It was already populated. But that's that European supremacy. But now then, this was already yours. You were caretaker of all of these lands, and now you got to go out and buy a house and buy something and sell it. I mean, buy a house to acquire something. You have to buy something from them. So they have something else they can sell you, real estate. that you were already possessors of. You didn't believe in ownership or anything like that of land, but you had territories and those were respected, and all within that territory was to be shared by all within the tribes, within the nations, to be used for hunting, for growing food, for whatever. And you only took what you needed, so you wasn't going to eliminate the deer, the beaver, the buffalo. But now you purchase back what was yours. That's how they get you going and coming. So stop believing that school is the best thing for your child. They may have to go. You're in the matrix. They've got to go. But make sure you nurture them and give them something else to look for, that they know the truth. I know it will be time consuming for you, but they need to know that Columbus didn't land here, that that's a crock of crap. They need to know that they were already here prospering, and that they weren't just roaming around in teepees and stuff like this, savages, that they portray in the Western. That there were towns, there were places to live, it depended on where you were and what was going on. There was a government that was 3 times better, 50 times better, 1,000,000 times better than the government we have now. That the education was based upon what signs a child showed to where they were going to be, what they were going to be, what was their purpose here. They were helped to find out and figure out their purpose here, and then educated on that, whether it was spiritual, healer, warrior, whatever the case may be, to help the tribe to grow. But that's all I have on that one, my melanated friends. I love you. You are great people. You are the chosen people. You are the melanated people.